Hello, my name is Stephen from K-Scale Models, and today I'm doing a video on designing 3D printable weapons for Gunpla. So, there is really three things you need to take into account when you're designing a weapon. The handle, the length here to here, so the forearm sort of length, and the overall weight. And I'll explain each of those when I go through it. So, first off, the handle. So this is probably the most important bit, is making sure that the weapon will fit to the kit. So you'll see here on a couple of these designs that the handle is pretty much the same, and there's a reason for this. This is to fit with what's the current high grade line of kits. You'll find that they all basically use the same hands. So it's slightly sloped back and it has, just quickly get it up here. So their weapons are roughly that wide by, just reset that. Yeah, by that. So that is, if you're making a modern high grade, that is the sort of weapon that or the sort of handle you're using for your weapon. So I went ahead and modeled this thing up. Now you'll notice something with it. It is not just a rectangular hole. There's actually two sections to it. There is this section there to, let's get, actually reset. We'll do there to there. There's also there to there. So what this is this area is a sort of squarish area, and that's for a beam saber. So beam sabers, they're round, they're a little wider than the rifle's handle. So that's this area. This area is for the rifle because their handles are normally a lot longer than the beam sabers. So that is why the difference. Now, this particular model also gives me the distance there to there. So if I'm doing something like this, where I've got an enclosed hand or handle bit sort of area, trigger guard, then the model will actually be able to hold it. So that's what this thing's for. Now, the thing is, this only works with the current generation of high grades. This is for the gin, and you can see straight away this handle is pretty much straight up and down, and that's very different shape than what you're used to. That's because it's an older kit and the hands that they were using back then are much different. So when you're going to make the handle, be aware of that. Now, the next thing you need to be aware of is this distance here. Here to here. Now, in this case, it's about 17 millimeters. Now, with this particular kit, I've checked, yeah, this thing will hold the weapon. It's gone through many revisions. You can see it's revision 18. So, yeah, it's taken a few revisions to get this to the actual right stage. So, yeah, that's something to take into account. Now, I suspect this is, again, standards for the current line of high-grade kits. However, I haven't really tested it, and I have noticed that when I've been designing weapons for the Leo, that they have much shorter rear parts than, say, the weapons for the Wingdom. So this is designed off the Wingdom's weapon, and that's where I've got some of the designs, the sizes from. So yeah, I think they're still the same length, but I would recommend to check before you print. So the final thing that you need to take into account is the weight of the weapon. So it's not just really the weight, it's also the weight distribution. So if the weight is too far forward, this will put a load on this area. So simple physics, further the weight is along an object or further it is away, the heavier it will be and the more force it will exert on object. So that means that this is where the wrist is going to be. This is one of the movement articulation points and most likely to droop. So this ideally would be over there. Now, it is very rare to be able to do this, to get this center of mass, which is the sort of pivot point, over that. And be honest, you will probably never be able to do that with something this small. What you'd have to do to make this go further back is increase the mass here. So you'd have to put more here, like a sight or something else, like an ammo. You might want to move the ammo from here to up to here or something. That's another way of moving this center of mass back. So that's something to consider. The next thing is the elbow joint. Now, remember why I said there to there is important? That's because this is the length of the forearm, and if you go over this, you'll start to hit the upper arm when you've got the gun at 90 degrees held in the in the suit's arm or hand. So you can't really go any further back, and this is where the elbow is going to be. So you can get into a situation where you're finely balanced for the actual wrist, but the weapon is so heavy that the shoulder, or not the shoulder, the elbow joint can't support the weight. So in that scenario, what you might want to consider is moving this further back. Now, you can't just move this further back in this case because, it will collide. But what if it was a different style of weapon? Say a rocket launcher that was over the shoulder, or maybe something held under the arm. At that point, your center of mass needs to be further back. So in this case, this rocket launcher will sit nicely over the shoulder of the particular mobile suit. Now, I did not plan for that center of mass to be there. This is a happy accident. I was just going through my models, finding an example of a rocket launcher that would do, and this popped up and it worked. So, yeah, that the shoulder in this particular case is the new sort of pivot joint. If it's too far forward, this is going to droop. If it's too far back, you'll be shooting birds in the sky. You won't be shooting anything in front of you. So, yeah, that is the basics that you'll need to do when you're designing a weapon. So I hope you found this interesting. I will link to any of the free weapons that I've got here in the description below. Some weapons may not be available as they are part of larger kits. For instance, the shotgun is for a yet unreleased Patreon build. The Patreons have got it, but I've not released it anywhere else. Same with this, the Tar rifle. The Leo weapon here, this is part of the EWAX, and I'll link to that, but it's a paid model. But yeah, most of these other ones are free model, and this one that I'm currently working on should hopefully be done tonight because this is being done on a live stream. I will link to that in the description so you'll be able to see me build this thing in real time. It's kind of boring to watch, to be honest. So, anyway, thank you for watching.